Hi, welcome to She Spice. Jeffrey Epstein's case is like a ceaseless bad dream. Since his conviction, the federal authorities have been revealing new horrible proof against him. It appears that each day there's another stunner, from Donald Trump to Bill Clinton. You name a VIP and chances are they go by messed up in this wreck with Epstein, and presently reports are coming in about the most recent strike on his home, where the federal authorities saw a significantly more stunning film, brimming with frightful stuff, uncovered all the more huge names reality, and individuals included will leave you totally amazed is utilizing these Foundation Club's bars as a front for what he's truly doing as such. There's discussion about this tycoon, who may be stirred up in a similar wiped out stuff Epstein was doing with it. Little kid's word is this young lady has seen it all, the entire reality of life about what went down at Epstein's gatherings, whatever other ladies there, exceptionally youthful, conceivably underage generally. And she said this was standardized, this was in the day, and numerous elderly men were there, and how can she pay attention to it without anyone else? After drinks he returns her to the house that she assumes is his, and he will run down on her obligations. This is where he gets yes, you heard it right. She's a casualty herself of Epstein's horrifying expressive activities. Perhaps she survived the repulsiveness or saw everything firsthand. Furthermore, in the event that you take a gander at the new strike on his home, the unusual and frightful photographs of him with Ghislaine Maxwell will creep you out, and on the off chance that he has a photograph with Maxwell, simply think about the amount of a wrongdoer he will be. Nevertheless, for what reason did he become companions with Maxwell, and afterwards sweetheart? Or did he even eat her too? That is simply one more piece of the story. Yet this is only one occurrence a video has surfaced via online entertainment, seeming to show within one of Jeffrey Epstein's properties, among what one can detect in the ghostly clinical hardware, strange artistic creations, and child powder, one can likewise see stir outlines a sculpture portraying a blindfolded Bowman and photographs of Epstein himself. The video surfaced soon after a Florida judge requested the arrival of realistic records from the state's 2006 indictment of the sentenced P. The archives, containing almost 200 pages, have subtleties of Epstein's violations. There are first-hand records of casualties as well as data about adjustments to the minor casualty circuit. Judiciary Luis Delgado, on Monday, July 1, first arranged that the 16-year-old reports be delivered, expressing subtleties in the record that will be over the top for good individuals. The declaration taken by the great jury concerns action going from horribly unsuitable to the lead at issue, which is all freaking appalling and criminal. Delgado composed the appointed authority, alluded to Epstein as the most notorious person in American history, adding that the mercy of the state for the situation has been the subject of much resentment and has at times decreased the public impression of the law enforcement framework. Besides, he recruited men to screen what was going on in his New York house from a CCTV control room and gave his casualties vehicle administrations and phones so he could follow their developments, as per another claim documented by two informers in Manhattan government court. I understand that I'm truly agreeable in my own skin. What I'm truly allowed to do is follow my own character to guarantee the lady's quietness. Epstein and his empowering agents additionally accumulated soil to use against them and compromised any individual who could help out police, and they paid the casualties many dollars in quiet cash after the debased money year, or they selected other young ladies into the plan. This wouldn't be all imaginable. The claim says that without Epstein's right-hand men, his long-term individual legal advisor, Darren Indyk, and bookkeeper, Richard Kahn, who've long denied any bad behavior regarding their previous manager, Danielle B. Key, and one more casualty alluded to as Jane Duthry, are suing Indyk and blaming them for propelling the late guilty party's faction. Like for over 10 years, Indyk joined Epstein's inward circle in 1995, while KH showed up around 2005. The objection says the Epstein endeavor could not have possibly existed for the length it did, and at its degree and scale, without the cooperation and backing of others. The legitimate documenting states nobody, with the exception of maybe Ghislaine Maxwell, was as fundamental and integral to Epstein's activity as these once. The claim looks for class activity status and comes closely following two extravagant settlements from JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank, which Casualties sued in late 2022 for giving the monetary systems to Epstein's Saint Ring, a huge number of pages of court archives attached to the late money year, and sentenced the guilty party. Jeffrey Epstein has been disclosed as a feature of a settled claim, including one of his casualties as the day-to-day monster, revealed Khan and Indyk filled in as co-agents of Epstein's home, and have evaded interviews with the press, staying under the radar and staying away from web-based entertainment in 2020. One source let us know that Indyk was called out of haziness by Epstein, and assuming he had a daily existence beyond Epstein, it was an extremely confidential life in the interim. Insider associated with Khan guaranteed Richard worked out of the workplace. Did Epstein show up at those workplaces? Yes. Did Richard see any of the exercises that were the focal point of press consideration? No, however, what leaves the Neens considerably more upset is that federal authorities definitely knew he was this sort of individual, yet never accelerated for the situation. Think about what bits of gossip recommend that Diddy is the federal authorities, and to save himself, he is simply giving tips to the federal authorities. Epstein boasted about his associations with influential individuals at one event, telling her he was on the telephone with entertainer Kevin Spacey. However, the new claim says Indyk and KH were very much aware of Epstein's predations and blamed them for supporting, abetting, and working with his battery and hindering the public authorities' authorization of the T Casualties Assurance Act, realizing that they would acquire a huge number of dollars in return for working with Epstein's SEA, NT, Indyk, and Khan, picking cash and control over observing the law. The objection claims it adds that the men purposefully disguised the degree of their own contribution in the sane adventure, including explicit, misleading refusals of their job in the Epstein. By portraying themselves as simple external counsels to Epstein, the claim reveals insight into two additional casualties and the inward activities of the T activity. Furthermore, his legal counselors would assemble data about the young ladies to use against them in the event that they at any point ignored him. The protest says his homes were additionally under steady reconnaissance, and his New York manor had a room where men that Epstein recruited checked what was going on in the home throughout the long-term casualties, including Maria Rancher and Jennifer Eros, who stood in opposition to Epstein's observation framework, with Eros depicting it in a claim inside the front entryway that there were numerous surveillance cameras pointing this way and that on little televisions. Miss Eros could really see herself on the camera, strolling inside. Bensky was a hopeful artist in 2004 when a lady selected her to give Epstein a back rub for $300, and his empowering agents urged her to get back to his New York home. Having been in amazement at Epstein's chateau and Epstein's abundance and power, Bensky was unnerved by what might befall her, assuming that she declined the grumbling. Epstein boasted about his associations with influential individuals at one event, telling her he was on the telephone with entertainer Kevin Spacey. Epstein likewise let Ben know that he had companions in high places, yet he knew how they liked to party, so they could never deceive him. The claim charges Jane Doe 3, a resident of the European Association who involved a nom de plume, affirms Epstein flew her to New York and kept her at one of his condos at 301 East 66th Road in 2014. Epstein tricked Jane Doe 3 to make a trip with him to a few places where it is possible that he or Ghislaine Maxwell had homes. The grievance states David Kidd, the casualties' lawyer, said that definitely in the protest, respondents Indyk and Kay got a great many dollars from Epstein and his elements, and in return, they gave the money important to make Epstein's stork stow away what was happening behind a labyrinth of corporate shells organized Epstein's monetary exchanges to cover their genuine reason, and harangued Jokes Union with deceitfully giving a reason for saving casualties from Europe in this country as far as it matters for them. Indy and KH say they were phenomenally amazed and frustrated by last week's documentation by the Schiller firm. Wire added that it was Indyk and Khan who laid out the very first casualty remuneration program by a bequest, a broadly acclaimed technique through which the home paid out more than $121 million to 135 ladies. Furthermore, it settled claims for the benefit of the bequest brought by 50 different ladies who either didn't take part in that remuneration program or looked for more than they were granted by the claim. Indyk and Khan helped set up Epstein's mind-boggling monetary foundation, which included many financial balances across numerous banks connected to corporate elements with no real business reason. They likewise assumed a part in making and dealing with a portion of Epstein's far substances, like his implied philanthropies at the Coke establishment. Furthermore, Appreciation America restricted the claim charges that these men guaranteed Epstein's admittance to cash by expressly pulling out or organizing the withdrawal of thousands of dollars all at once a few times each month, such that he stayed away from banks, showing an expected level up. Effort reports and location to policing that implies he generally supplicated on monetarily feeble individuals who were in. Subscribe She Spice for more videos.